Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live, and I'm your host CK. Everybody is talking about forecasting, and therefore the new year is just on the horizon. And I thought, based on my understanding, I will make some forecast, and therefore, this forecast which I'm going to make is predominantly for business people. All right, what is going to happen in the next year? Are there going to be new opportunities? Are there going to be new challenges? All of this we will discuss in this program, in this live stream. Just in case, if you have any questions, any observation, please feel free to send your messages. They will display here on this side of the screen, and we can have a discussion. All right. As I said, we have divided the forecast into five business categories, starting with the first one now, and that is the advancement that you will see during 2025 in the medical space, in the medtech journey of various opportunities that you can expect. And the first one will be the use of AI. There will be a very advanced use of AI in diagnostics. You see, what happens is that there could be sort of inaccuracies if the humans are doing little bit of diagnosis of your ailments, but the AI can do it beautifully, and a lot of data can be analyzed by AI. So utilizing this facility or this functionality of AI to not get tired, analyze your data, is being used by the medical diagnostic centers, which is going to come up in a very big way in the next year, that is the year which is coming in 2025, where the if the diagnosis is not clear or not accurate, the treatment will also suffer. So therefore, the first starting point is to have a proper diagnosis, and AI can do it faster, much faster, in a better way and more accurately. Next will be the personalized medicine. You see, for this disease, this is a medicine. For another disease, there is another medicine. All right. So there are different kinds of diseases, but the medicines are standard. And so there is no personalization, but the technology will actually ensure that the medicines will get personalized. That means whatever fits everyone else may not fit you and me, and therefore your medication requirements may be very, very specific to you. Usually this kind of demarcation is not possible, but the technology is now advanced enough to give you personalized treatment. All right, before I move forward, Tanya Khajuria is with us, and she has joined us from the YouTube platform. Hi, Tanya. Welcome to our live stream. This is about the advancements or predictions for the next year. All right. So stick around. If you have any questions, observation, feel free to indulge with me. All right. Moving on. This is related to your personalized medicines and diagnostics. We are still on the subject of the healthcare. There will be advanced wearable devices. You see, one of the big challenge in the wearable technology, like for example, if you have smartwatch or some sort of device which monitors your vitals, the biggest challenge is the sensors. The sensors are not intelligent enough or sensitive enough to capture the right data, and therefore that is a stumbling block. But the technology is improving. In the next year, which is 2025, you will see surge of these wearables with advanced sensors, which will be able to provide very good vital data about your vitals, will be able to give you very accurate results, and in case you are connecting directly using your mobile to your doctors, these wearables will be able to send alerts and all the minute to minute data to your doctor as well. So there is going to be a lot of surge. There is going to be new type of wearable that is going to be launched in the market. Well, the technology still exists, but it's all business driven. What I've heard is that there are new type of wearable which you don't have to physically wear them. You just have to put them like a contact lens, put them inside your eye. It will keep checking your blood pressure. It will keep monitoring the blood sugars and stuff like that. So you just wear a contact lens, and then the contact lens will have the technology to keep monitoring your body, your vitals, and keep sending it to your physician or your doctor. So the surge in these devices, you can see increase in surge of these wearable devices next year. Moving on, number 4 is the telemedicine. Telemedicine is actually already happening when it comes to internal medicine department, or physician, as we know, as we call them in our day to day discussion with the health services. So telemedicine is very common nowadays. In fact, the hospitals themselves don't want you to visit the hospital. They say that, why don't you connect with us using the Zoom platform? You have the consultation, you book the time with our doctor, pay the fee, but don't come. It actually works better for you also. You don't have to spend a lot of your time in traveling by a cab and waiting for the doctor in a queue, and then just you're able to meet the doctor only for a couple of minutes. So I think it works both for the benefit of both patient and doctors. And since you're not traveling, you're not getting exposed to different viruses which are floating around, for example the COVID one, etc. So telemedicine is going to get enhanced in 2025. More and more different medical services will get into telemedicine space. Even the things like sample collection, it will be much more easier and cost effective to call somebody to your house for providing the samples, rather than you are going to the path lab and giving the sample. So all of these changes are going to happen in a very big way in the year 2025. And then lastly, the last option is really high tech when it comes to the health technology, and that is the 3D printing of medicines. You see, whenever we come out with some sort of a new medicine, it takes years and years of research. It requires a lot of permutation, combination, and also testing. So whenever there is a new medicine that comes out, it usually takes more than a decade, at least 15 years, for the medicines to become a reality in the market. That means by the time the medicine was invented, the medicine regulator will not like to launch that medicine in the field without proper trials, because there could be side effects. So you should know everything about the medicine, that what are the benefits and what are the side effects. So in order to that kind of data to be available, you need a lot of time. However, if you use AI, then you can shorten, because the AI will work on different kinds of models and they can do the calculations quickly. This has been proven during the COVID days, where the vaccination was launched in the market within 6 to 8 months time, instead of waiting for 15 years, where thousands and millions of people would have perished. They were able to provide the COVID vaccination across the world within 6 to 8 months, or maximum 1 year, so that once the people are vaccinated, they are protected against the viruses. So like this, there could be a lot of new technologies that will be brought in the healthcare space, like 3D printing, where instead of supplying the medicines can be 3D printed in a 3D fashion in the customer premises, in the patient premises, patient houses. As it is, the 3D printers are now available for very low price. Maybe there is going to be surge in the 3D print technology next year, and therefore this is going to be very amazing shift. This is also going to be important for future also, because when people are living in a far off place, then this kind of telemedicine, 3D printing of medicines really help those people who are staying in the far flung areas. All right, so these are the things that we will see in a big way in 2025, especially in the health tech space. Let's move on to the next business segment, and that is the energy segment. What changes we will see in 2025 in the energy segment? So the first thing is the capacity surge in the renewable energy space. So we know that India as a country is a very large country. one of the most populous place on earth where a lot of people live. So it's a fairly large country, and there are different pockets. For example, China is another large country, and if you look at where the most people live is the US. So if you go by the population, it's India, China, US, Nigeria, Brazil. That's how the spread of humans are, and then Europe. So these are the five major locations where human live, and therefore these five locations are actually driving the economic growth of the entire world. And to drive this further, you need a lot of energy, and therefore India has already committed that they will actually get on to the bandwagon of solar power, because there is a lot of sun in India. Indian summers are very famous, and therefore there is a uh, very steep target agreed by a country like India. And I know that China is also already on that path. So 50% of the population, if India and China basically follow the sustainable energy development, it is going to change the entire world. So there is going to be a lot of surge. As it is, we are seeing that there are a lot of electric vehicles now coming on the street. The Indian government has changed the entire railway system uh, from diesel locomotives to electric run engines. So they are actually doing a lot of providing a lot of benefit to the environment. So this is already happening. There is going to be a lot of emphasis given on the environment friendly energy production. So there is going to be surge. There is going to be increase in capacity planning for all the existing power generation plants. All right. Now, once we are able to generate power, what happens to the distribution of power? Are we going to distribute the power? And when we actually create these cables and all kinds of stuff running around, all the towers that we erect to create the grid to supply power, it actually spoil the purpose of conserving the nature during the power generation. Because when you manufacture things like cable and steel for power, it again spoils the nature. So the thing is that there is going to be new ways of distribution of power. Maybe there will be a smaller power generation plants that may come up in close proximity to the urban and residential areas, which will supply the power to the small pockets. And that way, you will be able to save on the expensive cost on production of cables as well as the other machinery. Instead of building a huge grid, you can actually start building small grids. There could be other things also which will come up. New techniques of distribution of power, maybe wireless, may not happen next year, but 2025 people will lay the foundation of progress into the next level, where the power generation industry will also become very, very advanced next year. Going forward, I already mentioned about solar projects. So there are a lot of big solar projects which are coming up within India, also in China. The electric cars are coming up. That means new ways of battery technologies will also come up. So solar is going to power the batteries, and then batteries will power the cars. So there is a lot of sun throughout the year. Almost 10 months there is a lot of solar power which can be harnessed in India, and also in large countries like China, US. As I mentioned, China, US, Nigeria is also on the equator. So if there are, we will see a lot of surge in the solar power in 2025, because that's easier. Once established the solar cells, then they keep generating power for quite some time. When it comes to the power generation, the circular economy may also evolve. We know that there are certain countries who do not have any power generation, and because of that, they don't have hydropower, they don't have solar power, and because but they need power, to light up their houses and for their citizens, to run the factory, etc. When they are not generating their own power, they will have to take the power from some other country, and therefore the power exchanges will have to be strengthened. And this will happen because when the power grid and the whole power generation business is undergoing a lot of change, there's going to be a circular economy which will evolve around the power segment itself, and the foundation will be laid in 2025. In fact, you will see that slowly, gradually, people will start making plans, and suddenly you will be realized, okay, oh, such a thing is happening, because this is going to affect the every individual living on the surface of the earth, right? Moving on to the third segment, and that is very important about the space exploration. Lot of countries are now participating in the space exploration, and therefore, Artemis 2. Let's talk about Artemis. Artemis 2 is, uh, is going to be unmanned, and intention is to send the human probe in Artemis 3. That means Artemis, people will land on the surface of moon in Artemis 3, but Artemis 2 is very, very important. They will actually make all the tests for a manned flight, and that will happen this year in 2025. By the way, there are 27 to 28 countries who are signatories to the Artemis program, the NASA Artemis program, including India. So while India is developing their own space program, which is ISRO, India is also signatory to NASA Artemis program, and that means a large portion of the humanity is committed to send the set up a permanent base on moon, send humans to the moon again, and set up a permanent base on the moon. There is also a competition going on between India and China, US. They want to, all of them want to reach the south pole of moon, because there are a lot of resources, etc. So a lot of these things will fructify in the next year, and that means a new world other than earth may be created, where there is going to be a permanent base. At least the foundation will be laid. And one of the important things of landing on the moon, and also building a permanent base on the moon, is to set up a space station around the moon itself. So there is going to be a space station around uh, earth. We already have international space station, but that is old, so we may have to come up with a new space station. There is going to be a new space station which will be the sort of a base camp to go to the moon. So that may come up. Artemis 2 is definitely going without humans as a testing platform to the moon in 2025, and the date for the Artemis 3 is already set up for 2027. And since we are talking about the space program, then the ESA, which is the European Space Agency, they have started the Space Rider program, which is going to be launched in 2025, and that is the uncrewed space plane. That means the plane will take off from a runway and will eventually reach the space and then come back into the Earth atmosphere, land like a normal plane. So this is scheduled for a maiden flight in 2025. It's going to be a aeroplane which will be a reusable spacecraft, because the cost of space flight has to come down. This is one of the ways to bring down the cost, and the starting point is going to be next year. That was the first flight. Now next, the Blue Origin, which is the Amazon's founders company, Blue Origins, they are sending Mk1 lunar lander, which is some sort of a freight lander without humans, which will carry the supplies to the moon. So the first demonstration of that is scheduled for next year, that is 2025. So Mk1 lunar lander, which will take the supplies for the manned mission, which is expected in the future. All right, so this is a test again in going to happen in 2025. Then very, very important, Dragonfly mission to Titan. NASA has planned for a Dragonfly, a drone type probe, which will be sent to Titan, which is in Saturn's it's a Saturn's moon, and we speculate that there could be life living under the ice sheet on the Titan's surface. So inside the sheet itself, there is a huge ocean, many times the size of Earth, and there is going to be a lot of activity going on. We want to know that, and there has to be a survey done, and therefore this kind of probe can be very handy when it comes to exploring other worlds. So this is going to go. Usually, it takes about 10 years for any satellite to reach from Earth to the Saturn. So it will take a lot of time, but this is going to be this is being planned right now. I think we will hear about the launch date in 2025 for the Dragonfly. The name has been given already. It's called Dragonfly. Europa Clipper mission. Well, lots have been talked about the Clipper mission. This is going to the Jupiter to understand similar satellites. Titan is in the Saturn system. Europa is in the Jupiter system. So the Clipper mission is going to study the Europa. Same same sort of environment exists on Europa also. There is huge ocean, at least twice the size of Earth ocean, and it is expected that nothing in the history of our universe, of our solar system, has disturbed that ocean. It seems that there is sufficient time given to life to evolve on Europa. So it's very exciting. Clipper is going to Europa. All right. So now let's talk about the fourth item on our list, and that is about the political shifts. We will see a lot of political shifts, a lot of upheavals, and starting with the upheaval which is related to Ukraine and Gaza. All right. So already people are talking about ceasefire and some sort of settlement between Russia and Ukraine. Similarly, uh, the major other wars which are happening are the Gaza. We are not seeing any signs of slowing down at this point in time, but 2025 we can see some resolution between Israel and Palestine with regard to Gaza. And then there is some war which is going on for many years but not publicized. That is the war between Sudan and Ethiopia. Egypt, and Ethiopia. So there are major wars happening, and there is going to be some resolution around around these wars to bring peace and security among the people affected in these areas. All right. One of the things which affects the geopolitical situation is also the climate change. Um, there are certain countries who are talking too much about climate change, but they are not controlling the damage they are causing, their policies are causing to the climate. Whereas there are other countries where the country says that, okay, whatever damage we are doing, but our lifestyle is better than yours. And therefore, there is going to be a geopolitical situation where the ideologies, the clash of ideologies when it comes to climate conservation. So all of these things are accelerating, and because of the climate, I mean, believe it or not, the climate has become a very big issue for the survival of our planet, and therefore it is going to drive a lot of geopolitics around the world. It's not only how much money you make, it's also about how much climate you preserve, and therefore it is becoming a very important geopolitical agenda of the government and of the leaders. We will see a lot of action around the climate in 2025. All right. Moving on, with regard to geopolitics, there is going to be new economic policies that different governments will talk about. There was an era of globalization. There was an era of a lot of import export going on. That will continue, but then there are a lot of after the pandemic, especially, a lot of countries are now talking about self-reliance and internal consumption, internal production. So there is little bit swing from globalization to localization, and during 2025 there will be new policies, as it is between India and China. As you know, that the new president has not taken over yet, but there is a lot of talks about increasing tax because India is imposing tax on US and US is going to do the same thing, reciprocate the favor. So things like that, which will, these are very complex matters actually. A lot of studies required when it comes to providing economic policies. So this is going to become a very big issue in 2025, may drive all other issues. How do you basically create new policies within your own country, and there could be interference happening from others, because other country will say, okay, because you are making policy in your country, I will lose out certain revenue. So there is going to be a lot of geopolitics around how policies will take shape. And we cannot say today that I'm free, I'm a sovereign country, I will make the policy what I want. Everybody is watching each other, and therefore this is going to become a very big issue. How do you control economy of your own country and also live in this world which is interconnected thoroughly? Now, when it comes to the sovereignty, I think the digital sovereignty is going to be questioned. There is going to be tightening of screws. So far, people do not have um, any bar on how do you use your social media. And whenever you use social media, you are always, whatever you do on social media is always global. It has a global reach and it has a global impact. You can sit in some other country and create some sort of false narrative in another country. This has been going on, and this has been looked at also, and people are now very concerned about this. So that is a bad side of social media. So there is going to be some action taken to control the digital sovereignty, where there could be new regulations. There could be focus on AI algorithms to control the digital space, and things like that. So there is going to be a lot of tightening of screws across all countries. Data storage is also a very big issue. So there is going to be new policies. All these emerging 5 locations, as I told you, which is India, China, US, European Union, and Brazil, Nigeria. These 5 to 6 locations will tighten their screw when it comes to digital sovereignty, as we call it. And lastly, there is going to be a lot of emphasis on the new emergence of a new grouping. We know that United Nations is the largest group today, but there are more local groups that may emerge, and different countries, based on their interest and their issues, they will like to provide their participation more in local groups. For example, there is G7, there is I5, there is Global South, uh, there is a SCO summit with the Shanghai Cooperation. So several such local groups have also emerged. There is more of emphasis will be given to these local groups in 2025, and the United Nations will actually start losing a lot of initiative which they have been doing for last 4 decades, 4 to 5 decades, will now shift to these local groups. And since this shift is going to happen, it is going to create a new equations, new scenarios, new enemies, new friendships. All of this will undergo a lot of changes when it comes to geopolitical situation in 2025. We will hear lot of news about what is going on in the politics. Now, last segment is related to the natural disasters. We know that the environment is changing, and there is going to be many disasters waiting to happen in 2025, starting with tropical storms. We know that there has been increase in the rains, there has been an increase in the storms. The severity of these rains and storms has also gone up. Not only number of times the rain will happen, number of times the storms will happen. They are causing more devastation. Uh, they are continuing for longer duration. They are causing more damage, and they are much more stronger. So this trend will continue when it comes to storms, especially the coastal regions. They have to watch out. The technology is quite advanced, but there are going to be very large storms in 2025. For all those people who live in the storm zones, we will have to be very careful. Related to this is the floods. As it is, there are mega floods which are already happening in all parts of the world, in Europe, in India, in China. A lot of people are getting displaced. This will continue and enhance in 2025. We will hear about big floods happening all across the world, and so there is going to be increase in that. Now, this is also the year of El Nino. So, moving on to the third one is the heat wave. So, wherever there are cold areas, there used to be coldness in those areas. There will be heat wave in those areas. So, because of El Nino, and this time El Nino is going to last for more than 2 years, or some people are speculating that it may last for 3 years. So, starting from 24, middle of 24, the El Nino is already hitting us, and if we continue, if the effects continue in 2025, there is going to be a lot of areas will be affected by the heat wave. And when it happens, especially when it happens in the forested area, then the forest fires are very common. So, especially in the area of Amazon, there is going to be huge fires. As it is today, there are more than 100 fires which are already happening in Amazon, and also in US, and in India as well as in Australia. We will see this extreme heat waves in the summers and extreme cold in the winters. And generally, the storms will happen, especially if you look at the Indian subcontinent. During the monsoon, after the monsoon, there is a lot of rain during the monsoon, so there is going to be flooding. After the monsoon, the storm season, the cyclone season starts. So, if the floods are more, the people will not get any respite from the effects of the floods, and after that, the cyclones will come in. So, it's going to be very catch 22 type of situation, where one natural disaster after the other that you can expect in the year 2025. So, friends, these are the predictions that I am making from my side. Most of these predictions are related to business. So that means if you are in business, you can get inspired. You can prepare yourself, especially in the area of health tech, area of governance, area of online business, um, in the area of AI. You can actually gear up and look for the opportunity. And if you are not in the business, if you are in the politics, there are going to be a lot of action in the politics arena as well. And at the same time, there is going to be natural disasters which are going to happen in 2025. So overall, this is what I foresee going to happen in 2025. If you have any additional comments or suggestions, feel free to send it across. Thank you so much for joining me live today, and I'll catch you again in the next one.